Hey everyone, it's Sekaar, and today we're going to be going over my magic and sorcerer build that I've been using lately for the Scions of Ithelia chapter. I am not usually a big MagSorc gamer, but I just really wanted to try it out since it got some nice buffs, and I have a lot of mixed opinions on it, but regardless, this build is fun, this build is strong, and I definitely think it's what you guys are looking for as far as a magic or sorcerer open world PvP build. Alright, before we get down to everything, if you guys could do me two favors, for those of you guys that are not subscribed, please just hit that subscribe button. That's really all I ask of you guys. It really helps me out, and it's just free for you guys. Also, if you are already subscribed, please just hit that like button. That's really all I ask of you guys, and I would really appreciate all of that. So, without further ado, let's get on to our character sheet, or actually everything. So, we're going to be a Breton on our MagSorc. I think Breton is really good for this because of the overall reduced cost on all of your magic abilities, and that really helps your overall sustain a lot. And overall, I just think Breton is really strong. If you want to go more offensive, I think that you can go High Elf, and that'd be really strong. But overall, I think that those are the two best races that you can go for this. Also, we're going to be having 64 points into magic, and that's going to give us a max magic pool of 48.9k, which is massive. That is so much health. Our max health pool is going to be 26.8k, and our max stamina pool is going to be 16.3k as well. So moving on, we're also going to be using the mage as our Mundus stone as well to increase our max magic as much as possible. Also, we're going to be vampire stage 3 because vampire stage 3 is absolutely massive for your overall tankiness, and I really think that it definitely is necessary on most builds. And also, we're going to be using Artan pickled fishbowl as our food. That is really important in my opinion. I don't know how to get there from the PC menu. I'll do it from my gamepad menu. So our Artan pickled fishbowl is going to increase your max health by 5,400 and also increase your max magic by 4,900. So in my opinion is the best way to go as far as food goes for your MagSorc builds. So back to our overall superstar add-on, we're also going to be having for our gear, let's start on with that. As our monster set, we're going to be using Mighty Chudan. We're going to be using both medium well-fitted shoulders and helmets, so it's going to be the same thing on both of them. And so what Mighty Chudan does is it gives you a line of armor, it gives you a line of max health, and then you gain major resolve at all times so that you don't need to use that as an actual skill, and it frees up an extra slot on your bar. And then moving on, we're going to be using as our back bar set, we're going to be using a heavy Rich and Vitality chest piece in reinforced. So what this does, it's going to basically just give you a bunch of extra recovery on your build. That way you are just not running out of all of your resources so quickly. I definitely think that Rich Vitality is kind of necessary. It's definitely necessary to have some kind of recovery on this build, whether it's Rich Vitality or Roxa. I definitely think that this is the way to go though, because Mighty Chudan is just so good to free up that bar slot. So moving on to our body set, we're going to be using Rallying Cry at all times. So Rallying Cry is interesting because this is going to make us super tanky. It's going to give us some extra damage. I know, guys, I'm not reinventing the wheel on this build because I don't really play MagSorc too often. So I really feel like I wouldn't be doing the best service kind of going outside the box on a MagSorc build. I really don't play it too often. So this is really what I came up with as kind of a building blocks kind of build. So Rallying Cry, this is going to be on our body at all times so we can proc this very frequently. We're going to be using Light Divine's hands for this, and so what this does is give us a line of crit chance, max magic, another line of crit chance, and while Battle Spirit is active, critically healing yourself or an ally is going to make you gain 300 weapon spell damage as well as 1650 crit resist. So it's going to be giving you extra damage, and as well as that, it's going to be also giving you some nice resistances as well for your crit resist. So moving on to our other Rallying Cry pieces, we're going to be using a Light Divine Sash as well. We're also going to be using for Wretched Vitality, Divine's Legs in medium. And then for our feet, we're going to be using Light Divines in Rallying Cry as well. For our jewelry, we're going to be using one Wretched Vitality ring in Arcane with a weapon spell damage enchantment on it, and our other two pieces of jewelry are both going to be Rallying Cry, ring, and necklace, both arcane with max weapon and spell damage enchantments on it as well. Our front bar is going to be the Asylum's Perfected Lightning Staff, charged with the poison damage enchantment on it. A lot of you guys are going to be like, hey, Sekaar, why are you using charged on Asylum's Lightning Staff? because it doubles the proc of it doubling. So it just does so much extra damage. And I definitely recommend using charged on this. Since all status effects kind of got a buff in a certain way, I definitely recommend using charged way more often than sharpened nowadays on most builds. I just think that this is definitely the way to go, and you are hitting so much harder having charged on your bar rather than having sharpened. So Asylum, what that's going to do is the perfected line is going to give you an extra 103 weapon and spell damage, and then the actual piece is going to give you every second cast of Force Shock will always apply the burning, concussion, and chilled status effects, and that has to be cast within 5 seconds of the previous cast for that to apply. So basically what that does is it's just going to add a bunch of extra status effects, and I know we're going to be kind of adding those status effects at all the times, but that damage is going to be stacking up over time, and you can get some nice burst potential with that. And then our back bar is going to be an Ice Staff of Wretched Vitality infused with an increased weapon and spell damage enchantment on it as well. So before we get to our skills, I'm just going to go over the champion points right here. Our blue slottables are going to be Deadly Aim, Arcane Supremacy, Master at Arms, and Weapons Expert. Our red slottables are going to be Bastion, Sustained by Suffering, Survival Instincts, and Pain's Refuge. And our green tree, I'm going to go to this for it because it's not a slottable, but please make sure you have Breakfall in there, Rationer, and Liquid Efficiency. All right, so let's go to our skills now because I like using this menu better. It's a lot bigger and we can kind of see everything a lot better. So our main spammable is going to be Crushing Shock. This is going to be what's buffed by your Masters, or no, I'm sorry, Asylum Lightning Staff. I'm so used to using Masters on everything. Look at my Freudian slips. So this is going to be your main spammable. This is going to be hitting so hard because it could be doing that Flame, Frost, and Shock damage. And we're not even buffed yet on this build. And those tooltips are kind of nice. So keep on using this, basically weave this between all of your abilities, and you're just going to be doing so much damage. It is absolutely phenomenal. The amount of damage you get from just being MagSorc in general and doing this is a lot. And then on top of that, the lightning staff is from Asylum is really doing extra damage, and you're really working overtime with this. It's awesome. So Hardened Ward is our next ability, and this got a significant buff that I personally do not agree with, but hey, I gotta say it is very strong. So now Hardened Ward, it will give you that shield as well as a heal on that as well. So you're getting a shield for 12,877 damage, and then also you're going to be healing for 7,400 health as well. So that is absolutely massive. I personally do not agree with the buffs of having a shield and a heal in one single ability. I don't like it for MagSorc. I don't like it for Arcanist. I think that it's a very bad mechanic for the game and adds way too much tankiness in my opinion. But I am not here to preach my thoughts on the game. I am here to give you guys a strong build. So this is a very strong ability, and I definitely recommend if you want to stay alive, you use this ability. It is great. It's really one of the only heals that you actually need on this build. And then in our light, this is going to be two basically different abilities in one. You're going to be getting Major Savagery and Prophecy, so it's going to increase your weapon and spell crit by 2,600. It's also going to be increasing your max magic by 5%, which is huge when you have a lot of magic. That is a lot of extra magic. And then on top of that, I've been fighting so many Nightblades lately, and just using this on them, they kind of forget that people use Mage Light, so it brings them out of stealth, and it's awesome. And then Streak, this is going to be a multifaceted skill in one. This is going to be doing a little bit of damage when you streak over them, but most importantly, what it's there for is it's a nice CC when you have your combo slotted up. On top of that, it could be a really nice disengage. If you see way too many enemies and you're like, nah, I ain't fighting that, boom, hit Streak away from them 1 or 2 times, and you're out of there. It's nice. And then Crystal Frag, this ability hits so hard. And so basically what you're going to want to do is, while slotted, casting a non-ultimate ability has a 33% chance of causing your next Crystal Fragment to be instant, as well as that dealing 66% more damage as well, and costing half as much. So please do not use the hard cast frag. Make sure that your symbol is different on this, and make sure that you're using the instant cast frag. It's going to hit harder, and it's going to be able to make you weave a lot faster with your abilities. And then we have Ice Comet on our build. I don't really use it too often. I use it once in a while, and I really do like it when I do use it, but I mostly use our back bar ultimate, so we'll get to that in a second. Really why I use Ice Comet is it's a nice little burst to have on your enemies if you could streak over them, because it is an instant CC. You can't really block it or anything, but on top of that, it's also a Mage's Guild ability, so it's also going to increase your max magic just by having this slotted and your magic recovery. So it's a multifaceted thing, but overall, it's really great for your overall damage. So our back bar skills, we're going to be using Crit Surge on this. So this is going to be your source of major brutality and sorcery. So it's going to increase your weapon spell damage by 20%. As well as that, critically damaging your enemies is going to heal you for 3,366 health as well. So that is going to be a lot of healing for you because you're doing a lot of damage on this build. You're crushing shock, for example. You're hitting 3 of those in one. So you have a 1 to 3 chance to crit every time you hit that, so you're critting very often. Crit Surge is a very nice source of healing. Please make sure this is active at all times. Haunting Curse, this is a nice way to line up your burst on your enemies. So you apply this to them after 3.5 seconds, it's going to deal 12,400 magic damage, and then also it's going to do another delayed damage after 8.5 seconds as well. Same exact tooltip. So it's a great way to line up your burst. If you could line up that with your Crystal Frag proc and then your Crushing Shock proc into a streak, that is a great source of damage. And then I've got Bound Aegis on my back bar, so I replaced my Resolving Vigor with this. Just by having this active while slotted on either ability bar, your max magic is going to be increased by 8%, so that's huge for increase in max magic. So it's awesome for your MagSorc. You're also going to be getting Minor Resolve and Minor Protection at all times, so it's increasing your tankiness so much, because that's going to increase your physical and spell resistance by 3k. Also reduces your damage taken by 5%. So this makes you really tanky. I don't ever activate this ability because it's just not necessary. Activating this ability is just going to increase your block mitigation by 37%, so like that's kind of a waste of magic to use that because you're not really blocking too much on this build. So I just don't ever touch this ability. I just let its passives do the work for me. All right, last few skills. Dark Conversion. You're going to be sacrificing Stam for 10,200 health and also 4,500 magic instantly. So that's a great way to overall get your health and magic back up. And as well as that, you're going to be getting Minor Berserk for 20 seconds. So it's going to increase your damage done by 5%. And also, this is your only source of the Minor Condition on Wretched Vitality, so please make sure you do that once at least every 15 seconds just to make sure that you have both your Wretched Vitality proc and your Minor Berserk up. Moving on, Elemental Susceptibility. This is going to be your source of major breach on your enemies, so it's going to reduce their physical and spell resistance by 6k. As well as that, every 7.5 seconds, the enemy is going to be afflicted with the Burning Chill and Concussion status effects. And I know that it's going to be doing the exact same thing as the Asylum Lightning Staff, but I mean, look, this is going to be hitting really hard because you're just going to be getting major breach on your enemies, and that is just absolutely massive. You could honestly use the other morph, but I like this one. All right, and then our back bar ultimate, Power Overload. This is the ultimate that I use the most because this is hitting so dang hard when you can weave it with your other abilities. So it's going to basically make your light attacks do 11,400 shock damage. So that is absolutely massive. If you can activate this and then weave that with your Crushing Shock, with your Crystal Frag, the amount of damage that you have there is a lot of people can't handle it. So it's really nice. All right, and also I use tripods as well. That way you can increase your recovery and also keep your keep your stats up as much as possible. All right, so that is the entire build. I really hope that you guys enjoy. If you do, let me know in the comments below. I always like seeing your guys' comments. I always appreciate it, and it helps me in the algorithm as well. If you do want to see builds like this live in action, I do stream on both Twitch and YouTube 5 days a week now, so come on, stop by. I start stream at about 12 o'clock Eastern, like in the afternoon, so come on, stop by. I always appreciate seeing everybody there. Y'all have been absolutely so supportive lately, and I have been highly appreciating it so much. I'd love to see you all stop by. I know that you guys watch my videos a lot, but I don't know how many of you guys actually have seen me stream, so stop by, watch the streams, and just hang out for a little bit and just have a good time. So that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's get on with the footage for the build, and I will see you guys on the next video. Later.